Hi guys, welcome to our second year ordinary level video on factorising. So in this chapter we're going to have some keywords that we're going to refer to along for a good bit of it. We're going to have factor pair, factors, highest common factor, which you probably sounds familiar from first year maths, grouping, quadratic trinomials and difference of two squares. But let's start at the very beginning. What does factorising actually mean? So as in the title of our topic, the XY factor, we normally associate factor with shows like the X factor. However, in maths, it means something a little bit different. Our definition of factorising is the reverse of expanding, and we turn a given expression into a product. So we're looking for a factor of numbers, or something that multiplied by another number gives me that number. Let's look at an example. For example, 4 is a factor of 20. How do I know that? Because 4 multiplied by 5 gives me 20. So 4 and 5 are factors of 20, or 4 and 5 are a factor pair. If 5 is a factor, we have to find the other factor pair. Our numbers in this example include 5, 10, and 15. So if we have a look at 5, what do we have to multiply by 5 to get 5? The easiest way to do this is to divide. So 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. So my factor pair is 5 multiplied by 1. In my second example, we have 10 divided by 5, which gives me 2. So 5 multiplied by 2 gives me 10. In our last example, 15 divided by 5 equals 3. So my last factor pair is 5 by 3. Our method for solving these doesn't change when a letter becomes included. So if I wanted to find the factor pair of 5 for 20x, I would go about it in the exact same way. I would divide by 5. And 5 goes into 20 4 times, so I'm left with an answer of 4x, because 5 cannot be divided into x. So my factor pair would be 5 and 4x. Now's your chance to have a look at example 1 and exercise 1. Pause the video while you complete these questions. Here's homework 1, and please complete this as part of tonight's homework. The next phrase we have to talk about is the highest common factor. And this is a phrase you would have heard of before, and in fact it's one of our key words for this chapter. So the highest common factor of two numbers is the highest number that can divide both of these numbers. So for example, the highest common factor of 10 and 15 is 5, in that it's the highest number that can go into both. Let's have a look at this when we have letters involved. So our next example is going to be 4x plus 12. In this example, we're looking at the numbers because not both numbers have letters attached. So the letter is not going to be a factor. However, 4 can divide into 12, and it can divide into 12 3 times. And 4 is the biggest that 4 can get. So our highest common factor is 4. If we were factorising this then, we would end up taking out 4, and I would be left with x plus 3. How do we know if we're right? Well, there's an easy way. When we get our highest common factor, we divide it out. To see if we're right, we can multiply it back in and see if we end up with our original statement. So 4 multiplied by x gives me 4x, and 4 multiplied by plus 3 gives me plus 12. This matches our original statement, so we are correct. Let's have a look at a harder one. 3x squared minus 15x. In this example, we have numbers and we have letters in common. So both numbers have letters stuck onto them, and both of them have x's. So x is most definitely going to be a factor in this. The biggest number that 3 can be multiplied by to get 3 is 3. And 15 divided by 3 works. So we get an answer of 5. So 15 is equal to 5 multiplied by 3. 3 is equal to 3 multiplied by 1. So the highest common factor of our numbers is 3. If we have a look at our letters, both contain an x. One contains an x squared and one contains an x. The easiest way to get x squared is if we multiply x by x. And the only way to get x is if we have x multiplied by 1. So my common factor here is x. So if we put our two factors together, we get an answer that our factor is 3x. And that means I'm going to divide across my original sum by 3x. So 3x into 3x squared, I'm left with x. And 3x into minus 15x gives me minus 5. Let's do our trick to make sure that we're right. 3x multiplied by x gives me 3x squared. And 3x multiplied by minus 5 is minus 15. Does it match our original statement? It does, so we know we're right. Now's your chance to complete exercise 2 and homework 2.